Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the I Talk Back Sports Show. I'm joined today by my wonderful co-host, Jamal Bonner. Say hello to the people.
Hello to the people.
My name is Kay, and on today's episode, we'll definitely discuss some NFL action, NBA, as well as college football.
Woo!
Jamal, aren't you excited about this?
I'm excited. You know, I'm always excited about college football.
Would you like to give a shout out?
Certainly, Kay. I would love to give a shout out to Lamar Jackson, the wide receiver who threw for 5 touchdowns on Monday Night Football. It was very exciting to see what?
Wide receiver?
Yeah, that's what everyone said he was going to be when he came out of college. It was wide receiver, right?
Well, little did they know.
Oh, you're saying he's not a wide receiver?
No, he's definitely a bona fide NFL starting quarterback.
Oh. Okay, well, that didn't age well. Let me try again. Shout out to Lamar Jackson, the quarterback who threw for 5 touchdowns against a supposedly very talented Rams squad on the road and led to a Baltimore Ravens win. So to him, keep doing the great work, and shout out to him. What about you, Kay? Do you have a shout out?
Yes, I would like to give a shout out to Deontay Wilder, a.k.a. the Bronze Bomber. He defended his WBC title against Luis Ortiz II, AKO, in the 7th round. Jamal, did you check out this action?
I missed it, Kay. I'm sorry. You know, I'm tied up with my college football, and so I had to watch Oregon go down. I missed this.
Well, it was pretty dry until the 7th round, if I may say so. It all worked out in the end.
True.
Yeah, so for a little news around the leagues, 3 days ago, the NFL fined 33 players in the brawl between the Browns and the Steelers. What do you think about the suspension of Myles Garrett? Do you feel that it was a little too harsh?
I talked to you about this offline, and I definitely let me back up and say I got caught up in the hysteria of the initial overreaction to what took place. And by the NFL guidelines, based upon what happened with Albert Hainsworth when he kicked, was it Gerard?
Our player.
Yes, exactly. That honestly, it should have just been a 6-game suspension, and that also Mason should have been suspended as well for his part in this, and that somehow or another he got off with just fines is still kind of head-scratching to me. I think that Myles Garrett, while I recognize what he did was terribly wrong and bad for the league, that throwing the book at him and acting as though he needed to be the only one who served out a real suspension was just, no, it wasn't the way to do it. There were 2 parties that were involved in the initial part of this fight. The second party should have also been suspended for several games. What about you, Kay?
Well, I'm going to take a little different spin on the whole situation. A couple weeks prior, Myles Garrett was hit by a fan.
Mm-hmm.
He did not retaliate.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to tell me he's going to get on a football field and retaliate because of no reason, just no reason and for nothing? It had to have been something to trigger this man to react that way. And I think that the league should have looked more into that just by looking at the video. The man kicked him in, his private areas,
Right.
He also dug inside of his helmet. Like, why wouldn't a person, how can you not react? These people are very aggressive. They're in that type of arena. Not to say that he should have hit him upside the head with the helmet. That was a bit much.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think this man is just going to react for nothing. And I don't think the league really wanted to know or find out the truth about it, because they always want to protect the quarterback. Had it been a lineman, it might not even been 3 games. You know what I'm saying? So
that's true.
That's what I feel about it.
That's absolutely true. Everything that you just said, I completely agree with. It definitely would have been different with a different position, lineman or otherwise, that because it was a quarterback, that it was definitely a we have to protect the quarterback situation. And I honestly, yes, as for someone who hasn't done anything necessarily along these lines or even towards that end of violence, that it had to have been something to have set him off, and that if you're going to continue to perpetuate what's taking place by trying to take his helmet off first, that it's just beyond me that the NFL didn't do anything further. So basically, a quarterback can do whatever they want. So that being said, let's tiptoe over to something that happened last night that is near and dear to my heart. A team from Texas went into Cameron Indoor Stadium and pulled off the improbable upset as 27.5-point underdogs. They beat Duke. They beat Duke for their first home loss since 2000. Kay, please, tell us how unhappy you are about this.
I am so not unhappy. I am a North Carolina fan and have been for a very long time. I appreciate the process that Duke has as far as the type of players they have, their tradition of winning. So anytime that they lose on the other side of that, I'm so happy. Mm-hmm. So happy.
Mm-hmm. It came across my Twitter feed, and I recognized the jersey for Stephen F. Austin, the Lumberjacks, I believe.
Yes.
And I said, oh, okay, well, they seem happy. They must have beaten someone interesting. And I had no idea that they were playing Duke that night. So when I looked in and said, wait, So what I can say to you is that you had Kentucky losing, I believe it was last week, and you've had Michigan State. You've had some of the blue bloods in college basketball with some early loss in the season. So we're not going to be talking about necessarily an undefeated team, it sounds like. And it just may be that because it's early that it was a stumble. And yeah. I mean, it happens. But still, it's hella fun to talk about right now. I'm just, again, a Duke loss puts a smile on my face. So
that's right.
Yes. A quick question. Did we want to discuss what took place in Foxborough on Sunday? All right.
Yeah.
No? Okay. So, or do we want to talk about what took place in...
We can talk about college football.
Let's talk college football.
Well, Ohio State is going to play Michigan, okay? So, do we see anything miraculous happening on Saturday?
I am forever a Michigan fan when it comes to this rivalry, so whether it's miraculous or not, I am still going to hold out hope that Michigan can figure out some way to win. I'm not holding my breath. Michigan really hasn't been that impressive this season, at least in the early parts of the season. They've kind of seemed to have gotten their act together, but this Ohio State squad they look pretty good. So I'm not really feeling anything about that. Auburn, Alabama, no. That's no. I don't see any life in Auburn. What about you?
Yeah, nothing there.
You don't think that there might be an Ohio State trip up? Any possibility?
No, they are running at the rate that they need to be at this time of the season. They're not stopping for anyone. I believe that they will win this game handedly. Michigan, they get off to a very slow start, and they have a hard time sometimes generating offense. With Auburn, we've been wanting them to kind of do some things this season to certain teams, and they just haven't been able to do so. No. So I don't think anything will change on Saturday.
No, not at all. I agree. As college football reaches its home stretch, what do you need to make the game more exciting for you?
I just want the best. At this point, I want the best teams to be in the college championships. I don't want, like with Wisconsin when they went in that time, and Oklahoma, they always, the two times I believe previously that they went and just lost. You know what I'm saying? I want the best teams in here. So when I'm bidding farewell to the season, before I do, I want to see some very good games. You know what I'm saying, in January.
Right.
So that's all that I hope for at this point.
I would, if I may piggyback on what you're saying and add that I don't want to see an Alabama slide in because they had one loss but didn't make it to the conference championship. I'm sorry. That's the league that you play in, and that you had one loss, but you lost to the team that went to the championship. And even if they lose and the other team has a worse record, I don't want to see an Alabama slide in to the college championship because of their one loss. You didn't win your conference. I feel that there still needs to be something for winning your conference, and that
Right.
should be over someone who has a gaudy record. That's just me. Also, playoff would make me happier too, but that's neither here nor there.
So, do you think next year will be the time for them to expand it from 4 games? I mean, from 4 teams for the playoff, or do you think it works just the way it is?
I think they're going to keep it the way it is for a couple of more years. I would love to see them expand it, though. I think it should be at least 8 teams, if not 10 for sure. But certainly 8 teams, and that we're still going to be in a situation where that we're still going to have issues with, okay, this one loss team slides in even though this team is outside the top 8 and they won their conference. So I don't know if it's necessarily going to fix it. I think there needs to be a decision made in terms of what the importance is of winning your conference over having a great record.
Okay.
So, we're in a really interesting situation, you and I, if I may diverge a little bit for a moment. So at this time last year, we were both very upset when it came to discussing the NBA.
Yes. I remember the time.
I remember too. Those were some dark days of trying to bring up some sort of fake optimism. So, very quickly, rep your Mavs.
Well, they're definitely playing better than anyone expected. They're 11-6. I think what is working right now is Carlisle has finally put together a decent roster, and he's sticking with it. I think that my team is now building chemistry. I don't think they quite have it all together yet, but as they go on throughout the season, they are looking better and better. The West is not the easiest place, for anyone to play in. So I'm very excited each time I'm able to watch the game to cheer on my team. And traditionally, we don't have the longest history of winning, so we definitely appreciate whenever we have a winning combination here. The Dallas Mavericks.
I like the fact that the Mavericks have gone on this mini run that included beating the Rockets at semi-full strength, just outshooting the Rockets, which was one of those things that one wouldn't expect necessarily in the regular season, but it's an exciting team to watch, and that there are all these, we'll say youngins, but definitely you have some young stars on your team, and that I think the Mavs, as they continue to gel, will continue to rise up within the West and definitely be a force. So, congrats.
And not only did they outscore the Rockets, they outscored 2 people. Harden, and I always want the ball.
That's correct.
So that's a feat within itself.
Absolutely.
Weren't so lucky last night, but I do like that they also have experience with playing, the best teams in the West, so they can get to where they need to be at the end of the season if they make it to the playoffs.
Oh, no, I don't think there's any doubt that the Mavs will make it to the playoffs this year. I think that we're watching other teams in the West not do as well. The Spurs, for example, clearly aren't going to make the playoffs, unfortunately. Golden State's going to be nowhere near. So some of the older powers sinking down, younger ones rising up to take their place. So yeah, I honestly don't see, and I said the same thing last year, but this year I really don't see, unless something weird happens to Luka. Yeah, I see the Mavs in the playoffs.
So what about your Lakers? I mean, ever since LeBron came to the team, I've been begging for a little insight, begging for you to just tell me about your team. Even outside of him, you've been very reluctant to share this, you being a fan of the Lakers. So can I get some feedback?
So I think there's some real cautious optimism taking place on my side of this interview, and that I'm excited on the one hand, and on the other hand, I'm just like, the wheels are going to fall off. Something's going to happen. So I'm not really, how do I put this? I'm just not enthralled yet with my team. I know that they're doing extremely well. I would like for them to play a little better defense, but it is one in which they seem to have more offense than I expected them to. And we have got this crazy guy named Caruso who likes to go out and dunk on everyone. So it's a trade that I didn't know how it was going to work out, but Anthony Davis is the truth. And that I'm sorry for the guys that are now in New Orleans, but hey, this Anthony Davis cat's not bad. So,
right.
But cautiously optimistic is the term that I would use. Yeah. Unlike how I feel about our team, and I'm sorry, we're going to have to talk about this. So, whose performance surprised you in the NFL this past Sunday/Monday?
Surprised. I can't say that I'm surprised by anything that happened on Sunday or Monday. Surprised, I mean, in a good way or a bad way?
Either way.
Because, no. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, could you elaborate a little bit more? Because I think you're trying to get something out of me. Well, what are you trying to say?
I'm just saying that there were some very interesting results overall in terms of the actual NFL, or the Jets whooping the Raiders. The way the Ravens kicked the Rams.
I'm sorry, no.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, now listen. After the Super Bowl last year, I said I don't want to hear the Rams say anything, because after the performance they put in that Super Bowl, that told me everything I needed to know about them. And this year has been no better. They are not. There's no continuity there. You know what I'm saying? And there's something wrong with them, because they have not been the same team that they were last year. I'm not surprised by that. The Jets, it's been a big joke, because of their record. But, I mean, I think they're a decent team. I could say, okay, so a surprise. Buffalo Bills, they've lost like 3 games. That's a surprise to me. Okay? That's surprising. However, the Bills have a very good defense. And, we just question the offense a little bit. But the defense is really good. So the Bills also come into town on Thursday. And I don't think we should underestimate them, because they are formidable. And we could possibly lose. And I think it's probably a 40% chance that we will. So there's your surprise.
San Francisco whooping Green Bay.
That was lovely. I was just too sad. I love it.
It's okay. All right. So,
but you think, why wouldn't San Francisco beat Green Bay? I mean, a lot of Green Bay's wins have been kind of close, and then they get a lot of freaking calls by the refs, close at the end of the games. So I'm glad they did that. And I'm not a 49ers fan at all.
I'm not either, but not like this. 37-8. That's just, wow.
Sometimes you just bask in the beautifulness of the things that happen to other teams.
So I had this game, and this wasn't my surprise. My surprise is what happened in Foxborough. And I had this game circled from the time they announced that we would be playing the AFC East, and that I thought that this would be a barometer game, that it would tell us about our team. And as the season started, I felt really good about this game. That we only scored 9 points with this offense. And that, again, we're playing the Patriots, and it came down to a coaching decision. And that, again, we've come up short. And it's a regular season game. I get it. But our defense held the Patriots to 13 points on the road, and you can't score more than 9? That, to me, was a big surprise performance. And I am looking at this Bills game now, and I'm going to ask this question. Does our head coach survive if we lose against the Bills on Thursday?
I think he will survive until the end of the season because, for the most part, and I actually got into it with this person online about this, about us not winning against teams with a winning record. Mm-hmm. If it's true, we will not beat Buffalo. But we could possibly win all the rest of the games of this year. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I just think that over time there has been too much on the line for the coach to make poor decisions towards the end of these games. Mm-hmm. And I'm not as forgiving as Jerry Jones is. No. Okay? Because I spent a lot of time doing snack management, which bar I'm going to go to management, apparel management. I mean, it's a lot that goes in. So just think how much goes in it for them. I mean, they have much more at stake than I do, right. But it's not like they really is taking this serious. And just, next week, you can't always depend on getting it together next week. And that's just how the Cowboys are. You win one game, everybody gets so high on it, and then you lose the next game. And then you win the next game, you get high again. But what gets corrected? Absolutely nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
I'm not surprised that we lost. I am surprised about how we lost.
Unacceptable. That part I will agree with you on. So, speaking of which, that makes a nice segue to, we're going to run through some picks for this upcoming week. Yeah, that grin on your face doesn't tell me anything. I'm going to win this week. Watch me. So, that being said, let's start with Thanksgiving Day and the traditional Detroit game, the Bears at Detroit. Who you got?
I have I'll take Chicago.
Okay, I'll take the Lions at home. And the next game on the list is the Bills against the Cowboys in Dallas. Who do you got?
I'll take the Cowboys.
Fine, I'll take the Cowboys too. Okay, and then the evening, which hopefully is a shootout, because the last time these two teams played, it wasn't. The New Orleans Saints are playing at the Atlanta Falcons. Who you got?
I won't be watching this game for the record. I wish they could have come up with something better, but I'm going to take the Saints.
I, too, am taking the Saints. Why aren't you watching this game, by the way?
Oh, by this time, I should be in a food coma. If it's done right, I'm not going to. No.
Okay. All right. So, while you're slowly starting to come out of your food coma on Sunday afternoon, I've got a couple of boring games for you to pick on. The Jets and the Bengals.
I'm going to take the Jets.
I'm going to take the Bengals. The Titans at the Colts.
Ooh. I'm going to take the Titans.
I, too, am going to take the Titans.
Okay.
I feel good about that one.
All right, what about the Eagles and the Dolphins?
That's pretty easy for me. It's going to be the Eagles.
Okay, I guess I'm going to go ahead and go with you. The Green Bay at New York, the Giants.
Packers.
Okay, me too.
Love to see hate to see it for the Giants. Sorry, but yeah.
I just need the Giants to do two things this year. They have to beat the Eagles twice, or at least one time.
Yeah, true.
That's all that I need from them.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, now Cleveland is hot. Right?
I don't know that there's enough security for this game.
Wow.
The Steelers fans, this is taking place in Heinz Field, and the Steelers fans are going to be so mad about what happened. I'm going to take the Steelers.
I'll take Cleveland.
Ooh, okay.
I just don't know about the Steelers quarterback, that third string quarterback. That's all.
Oh, yikes. Right. Yeah, okay. You may be right there. I just can't take the Browns. I'm sorry. I just can't. So the Redskins travel to Charlotte to play the Carolina Panthers.
And these tickets, not like last week, were $4 in
It's gone up. Oh, because the Redskins won, it went up in price.
Because they're in Charlotte, or they $39. So
Yep.
Gotta go to Carolina.
Okay, I too am going for Carolina. So Tampa Bay at Jacksonville. Oh, those are decent ticket prices, starting at $20.
Oh my.
So in the battle for Northern Florida,
I'm taking Tampa Bay.
yeah, same here. Oh, this is unfortunate. This should have been flexed.
Yeah, this should definitely be a night game.
This should be a night game. New England at Houston is the night game? Oh, get out of here, people. So, I have to wake up.
Yeah, you guys should get me up.
I
don't have where to watch the game.
Wow.
So. San Francisco, Baltimore.
Wow.
I'm taking Baltimore.
I mean, it goes against every piece of my fiber to do this, but I'm going to take the Niners.
Okay.
I can't. As much as I dislike them, I really think that the Niners might win this game.
The only reason why I'm not taking them is because they have to travel to Baltimore. And that's the only that I can. And it's an early game as well. It's a 12 o'clock game, and you have to go all the way to the East Coast.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm still going to take the Niners and not feel well. Okay, can you mark the Niners for me? Thanks.
Yep.
Sorry.
And we also have the Rams, Arizona. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go with Arizona. I think they're figuring out some things, and I'm going to go with them.
I'm going to go with the Rams. I think that Arizona is not really up to snuff yet. I think Arizona has a bounce back. Excuse me, the Rams have a bounce back game.
Okay, we have the Chargers in Denver. Who cares?
Who cares?
I guess we'll just pick for the...
Yeah, I'll go Chargers.
I'll go Denver. Okay. All right. And we have the Raiders in Kansas City.
Kansas City for me.
Yeah, put that on mine too.
Okay.
Okay.
And then for some reason, NBC had plenty of opportunity to try to flex this game and did not. We have New England going to Houston to thrash them once again.
I'm going to go with...
I'm going to go with New England. I mean, I love Deshaun Watson, but no. I don't... No. It might be a shootout, but yeah, I'm still going with New England. And then, in actually an interesting Monday night matchup, we have the Vikings against the Seattle Seahawks.
Seahawks for me.
I'm going to go with the Vikings. Without a real good reason. I don't have a good reason. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So, What have you been watching outside of sports?
Well, as I told you, I'm watching Patty's Mexican Table.
Mm-hmm.
It's a show on PBS that I sometimes catch, and it's so amazing the things that this lady does with food. It's not Rachel Ray simple, but the things she does with the food is very authentic to where she's from and who she is,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a delight to watch. Other than that, I'm watching a lot of crap, and it's too much to really tell you about.
Understood.
So.
Understood. I've primarily been watching The Watchmen, the series on HBO, and I've been very entertained by it. Regina King finally getting a fairly decent leading role, and the various other supporting cast that are involved in it. Very, very good acting, and a very different way of telling a story. So it has kind of got me hooked, and that I'm just hoping it gets a second season, and also mourning the end of the season for my beloved Desus and Mero, but they'll be back supposedly in February since they were signed to a second season on Showtime. But my Monday and Thursday night comedy it's on hold for a little while. So yeah.
Sorry, I guess.
I know. So I wanted to have a final thought, and I want to go back a couple of weeks to the Kaepernick circus tryout, and my issue is more so with the many sports writers who seem to be kissing the NFL's ass. There were initial reports that came out about the negotiations behind this quote-unquote tryout, and the way that it appears as though the NFL was bending over backwards, and subsequent reporting at the tryout and beyond leaned towards the NFL doing Kaepernick a favor, seemingly, and that he was one who seemed to be bucking the system, shall we say. And in particular, news came out about the not wanting to sign the waiver that the NFL had designed for this quote-unquote tryout, and that Kaepernick had devised his own. And the way that this was reported, though, very one-sided, very NFL-centric. And then you started having reporters like Howard Bryant and Max Kellerman, of all people, who looked up and said, wait a minute, let's look at the other side of this. And as we went forward through the week, that the details really started to come out about what took place, that the NFL-centric narrative was kind of debunked, and that it was looking as though, yes, indeed, Kaepernick once again was being railroaded into this situation. I need sports writers to stop kissing the behind of these organizations. Report the facts. Study, look into your sources. I don't need to tell you, you all are the journalists. Stephen A. Smith went on First Take that Monday and went up and down Kaepernick without knowing all the details. That after Howard Bryant came on Tuesday, that he actually admitted, okay, I hadn't read all the story before I gave my hot takes. Learn, do it, cover both sides. Stop this trying to only appease the large organizations, especially the NFL. Do better, sports writers. That's all I had to say.
I totally agree. It's kind of like just because it's big and just because they are a machine, just because they make money does not always make it right. I think that when they didn't want to have the tryout on the normal day as everyone else, that should have been a sign that this probably wasn't going to go as smooth as maybe the Kaepernick camp felt it was. I think at the end of the day, to kind of sum it up, it just proves the case that was settled, that there is collusion and that they are continuing to stop this man from doing the things that he wants to do. And you know what? At the end of the day, they do have the power to do that. That is a consequence of the choice that Kaepernick made. But at the end of the day, you know, things still are not settled, but we still can just sit here and just look at how it all unfolds, because it's just not going to happen for Cap. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately. But
let me ask you this quick question. I can't help myself, but let me ask this question. So the owner of our team went on the radio the week after the tryouts took place and said something, and I want to pose this to you because I just, it's stuck in my head. Is Kaepernick really not as good as Cooper Rush?
In my opinion, he is better than Cooper Rush.
Okay. So if something happened to Dak, who we're right now collectively yelling at for not running the ball anymore and focusing on his passing, which has been pretty darn good. But if something happened to Dak, wouldn't you rather have somebody like Kaepernick behind him as opposed to Cooper Rush?
I would, but as traditionally, the Cowboys don't care about their second string quarterback, which is the case when Romo continuously went out. You only worry about your first string. You know what I'm saying? And that's unfortunate that we do those things. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Luckily, you know, Dak is in good condition, and we hadn't had to see Cooper. You know what I'm saying? Right. Our organization ignores a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way that they do things. You know what I'm saying? They pretend that it's not there. They're avoiders of conflict.
Okay.
But that doesn't stop the conflict from happening.
Okay. True. All right. One last parting shot. Again, you say that the man keeps his job if they lose to the Bills this Thursday?
Absolutely.
Okay. I don't agree, but okay. All right.
I don't mind being wrong on this one.
No, the problem is that you're usually right. So I don't even know why I even bother betting with you. Thank you very much, Kay. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. Please remember to look for us on Spotify and on iTunes, as well as on video for this should be on Facebook shortly and YouTube. So, Kay, have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Same to you, friend.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll talk later.